So you've taken all the right steps to reducing the noise of your room. You get a dynamic microphone. You throw duvets up on your walls to reduce the echo, but you can't get rid of that AC noise, or people working, mowing their lawn, or construction workers, or road noise. So really the only thing you can do, if you've done everything you can during the recording process and prior to it to reduce all noise and everything, is to fix it in post. And so I'm going to show you guys, if you're podcasting, if you're doing videos, or if you're streaming, on ways that you can reduce AC noise, road noise, and all of those other static noises. So yeah, let's go ahead and jump right in. Okay, so the first step is going to be targeted for people that are working in a DAW, a DAW, a digital audio workstation. This will ideally be for podcasters or people that I actually record all of my audio and edit it through the DAW, and then I throw it into my timeline on my video editor afterwards. I just work better like that. That's how I work best with my workflow. So this is targeted for the people that are editing their audio in a DAW. So this specific DAW is ReaFir. It's very cheap. It's honestly a packed, loaded DAW, and it's great for podcasters. Honestly, it doesn't have many softwares as far as instruments go, but as far as editing for dialogue and voiceover and all that, then it is incredible. So I would highly suggest looking into it. I believe it's $60 for lifetime updates and everything, so it's incredible, and there's like a 90-day trial, so definitely look into that. So we've got ReaFir pulled up right here, and if you're following along with me, we're going to be reading the "You're a Good Man" Charlie Brown dialogue, just because why not. And so if you listen right here, intentionally increased the gain on this mic and backed up about a foot away from it. That's not how I would suggest using this microphone, but I wanted to show how good this this free plugin is for ReaFir and how well it works. So if you have a podcast or whatever and you have a loud AC or a lot of road noise, that this works really well with a static noise. I do want to emphasize that it needs to be a static noise. I'll show you guys exactly why it has to be a static noise. And by static, I mean not changing. It doesn't like increase or decrease in frequency. Okay, so I am going to turn on my effects, but I don't have anything. Selected, and this is what it sounds like. I think lunchtime is about the worst time of day for me. Always having to sit there alone. Okay, so now if I were to do an aggressive compressor and limiter just to, again, increase the effects and show how well this plugin actually works, I'm going to have just an aggressive compressor and limiter. I think lunchtime is about the worst time of day. Okay, so if we're gonna load up ReaFir, you can actually find it by just clicking add, and now we will search ReAF right there. It's ReaFir, and then you'll just click OK. We already have it though, so we're not gonna add it. So we will select it. I'm actually gonna unselect all those. We don't need anything selected except ReaFir, and you should probably throw it at the very beginning of your chain like this. So now we'll have everything set to precise. And I didn't touch this. I've messed around with it. I really haven't noticed much different results when I do mess around with that. And then subtract. You definitely want to select subtract and precise. And so now once you do that, then you will select automatically build noise profile. So you click that. And one thing I do want to note is that you always, whenever you record, you're going to always want to leave a dead space for at least a few seconds. And this is exactly why. So what we're going to do here is, with this box selected, we are going to just play back this right here. Okay, that should be long enough. And now what you're going to want to do, this is very important because I mess this up almost every single time on accident, is you're going to want to uncheck this mark right here. And now once you have unchecked that, we can throw back on our we don't want our EQ, or we could use it, it doesn't matter. We'll throw back on our compressor and our limiter, and you can tell right here, you don't hear anything, which is perfect. That's exactly what we want. I think lunchtime is about the worst time of day for me. Always having to sit there alone? Of course. Sometimes. I think lunchtime, now you can hear a little bit of artifacts, and what I mean by that is, just listen real quick. I think lunchtime is about the worst time of day for me. Always have right there when I said day for me, then you can hear some like robot-y, artifacty stuff, and that's because it is a very drastic change that I made. Listen how loud that is. I think lunchtime is about the worst time. So of course that's gonna happen, but generally you're able to reduce it to where it's not that dramatic. I just wanted to show you guys with dramatic results. So once you mess around with that, then this is an amazing resource. The same thing can be done in Resolve or Premiere or Final Cut. They all have noise reduction things. So I'm just gonna show you really quick in Resolve. So let's pull up Resolve right here, and I actually already have it thrown in. So here it is with the aggressive compressor and limiter. I think lunchtime is about the worst time of day for me. Always having to sit there alone? Of course, sometimes. Okay, so we're gonna go to Fairlight Effects, and this should be noise reduction right here. And this can be done here or also at this tab. I'm just gonna do it at this tab because we're just doing it on one little audio clip. I would suggest using Fairlight if you're doing it for an entire channel. So we'll throw that noise reduction on, and what we'll do is select this little space right here, and we're going to go to default, and we'll click manual, and now we're just going to click learn and play back. Okay, now we'll unselect learn. That's essentially like that check, the little box that we checked earlier, and it should have done a pretty good job. I think lunchtime is about the worst time of day for me. Always having to sit there alone. I think lunchtime is about the worst time of day for me. Always having to sit there alone. And so what we could do is we could increase the amount, because you can still hear it. I think lunchtime is about the worst time of day for me. Always having to sit there alone. But what I do feel is that did a really good job of reducing it. It reduced it a lot without actually really messing up the main source of audio, which is my voice. That's what you wanted. You wanted to hear me read "You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown" monologue. It's one of the greatest monologues of all time, right, guys? But if you weren't satisfied with those results, if you wanted a little bit more, then what you can do is you can increase the amount of the wet signal would be like what's going through this plugin. So the dry signal is this audio before it goes into this plugin. And the wet signal will be what is coming out of this right here. Now with 100% wet, it's literally this entire signal here, what is being manipulated. I think lunchtime is about the worst time of day for me. Always having to sit there alone? Of course, sometimes. Now, if it were up to me, I would do it somewhere around 80%. And you can spend a lot more time on this and get better results. I'm just showing you guys the gist of it. Maybe one day I will dive deeper into specifically Davinci Resolve's noise reduction plugin. I'm not as familiar with it because, like I said, I always use ReaFir if I really do have a really dirty source. So I think that's pretty good, especially considering how bad the audio was prior. And you wouldn't have that aggressive of a compressor on in the first place. This is just for dramatic effects. One thing I do want to point out is you want to create the best environment for recording. Obviously you can fix some stuff in post, but there are things that you can't polish. So for best results, get the best source audio. So turn your AC off for an hour. That's actually what I always do, just to get the best results. Sure, I can get rid of it in post, but that is what I would suggest. This is just a last ditch effort if you had a bunch of other noise for some other reason. This also works if you have a really noisy mic. If you don't have the greatest preamps, then this would work the same way. It's a static noise, it's not changing. It's just one frequency layer that we can remove. Okay, so this next part is going to be for our streamers or people that are doing live content. Specifically streamers, you're gonna want a noise gate. The noise gate will essentially open a gate as soon as you start talking, and then whenever you're done talking, it's going to close that gate so no other noise leaks through. So what we're going to do is hop over to OBS because it's the most popular platform or application for streaming your game or whatever you're streaming. So We have OBS pulled up right here, and you're actually hearing my mic through OBS. So this mic right here is what we're using. Yours should look very similar. And this little wheel, this little gear right here, is what we're going to click, and we're going to go to filters. So we have all kinds of filters. None of them are on right now because the eyes will cross through right there. So noise gate is going to be the most useful as far as getting rid of that background noise goes. So let's move this over here so we can see this. And essentially this top thing right here, essentially this closed threshold is going to cut out anything that's below this decibel right here. And now the open threshold will be the exact opposite. So this will open the gate with anything above negative 24 decibels right here. Basically what you want to do is adjust it to where whenever you're talking, then it's working just like you see right here. And whenever you're not talking, then it stops. Just like that. And so we could make it more aggressive like this, but sometimes if you couldn't even hear me. So sometimes when you do that, the talking gets a little choppy. It doesn't sound good. So I would suggest just playing around with it, and it's going to be different results for everybody. You're not going to have one catch-all setting. So I generally like it to be just right around here, 23 or so. And then the closed threshold will be the same. We just kind of mess around with it until we like our results, and I'll be quiet so we can see what kind of noise we get through. And so we have no noise going through, and it's perfect just like that. The tag time will essentially be how quickly the filter or plugin goes into effect. And so a lower attack time would actually be suggested. And I will just say right now that I do like these default settings right here with 25, 200, and 150. I think it sounds the most natural. The whole time will actually be how long the microphone stays active after you're done speaking, or the filter will. And the release time is how long until it shuts the microphone off after the filter. So the hold time and release time both affect how quickly the microphone shuts off after you're done speaking. I wouldn't mess around with this too much. You can experiment by all means, but the more you mess with it, you don't have the right settings, and it will sound very unnatural, and it might even be shutting off in between words and make you sound unnatural. So yeah, just experiment with it. But I highly suggest noise gates for streamers, because then you won't really pick up all the keyboard clacking. So right now you can hear the clacking because the gate's open because I'm talking, but once I'm done talking, you don't hear any keyboard clacking. So yeah, I highly suggest this for all streamers. There's obviously a ton of other ways to edit your audio to make it sound better. I'm just doing a quick overview over getting rid of noisy environments, such as like constant road noise, especially in AC, or if there's a lawnmower going off in the background. Basically what we just went over was to reduce a noisy environment that has a constant static noise. Now there are other plugins and other things, other resources for noise reduction that are even better than those. Those are just some free or very cheap resources that we all have access to, and it should be really easy to use. Well, that's gonna be it for me. Please like, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys later. No, seriously, please subscribe and like. Wait, this is my mic that I'm using. Please subscribe.